Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome back to some more Stormworks Build and Rescue. Today we are working more on the Frigate. I had this radio thing here, the antenna thingy. I've just been doing some tests for about 3 days. Been doing tests. Testing the radar, and then of course testing missiles. And I will say that missiles in Stormworks are kind of, I don't know. They all require field of view. So if the missile can't see the object, chances are it's probably not going to hit the object. The small missiles. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody else knows something that I don't, but of all the YouTube videos I watched, of all the missiles hitting targets, all right, they were either in a hangar and the target that they were firing on didn't move. Or they were somewhere and the object they were firing on didn't move. Or the object they were firing on was very large. So yeah, so basically the small missiles have to be very, yeah. It's just like the radar, for example. So if there's an active target in the radar, the missiles can track. But if that target moves a little bit too far to the right or a little bit too far to the left, then the missiles aren't going to track anymore. So, I don't know. It's like everything with Stormworks, right? When it comes to the satellite dishes and being able to use them in space to communicate, and they have to be exactly aligned in order to get that communication, or you're not going to get that communication. Missiles are the same way. They have to be exactly aligned towards the object, or they're not going to move and they're not going to hit it. I'm sure there's lots more to it, but yeah, basically, anyway, in a nutshell, missiles suck. So we're probably not going to be incorporating them too much onto this build, just because they do suck and they don't work in the way that they... Because we can't program the trajectory of the missiles, we can't do anything. All we can do is say lock onto a target, fire towards the target, and hope that it hits. And in most cases, it locks onto the target, it'll fire towards the target, but it won't hit the target. So yeah, so I figured that given all that, with ballistics are just as accurate or are more accurate than missiles are, like up to a kilometer. Easily. Ballistics can shatter pretty much. So yeah, so I mean, that's just the way it is, whatever. So yeah, so now I'm just going to be trying to balance this frigate. And we are going to then, let's see, once it's balanced, I'll then change the radar and change the guns. Right, so now, yeah. Let's see, I was also able to find a scale that works with the radar. It works up to about here. And then after that, the scale kind of goes a little awry. Let's see, I wonder, I can just see that island, right? I can just see that island. So now, here, let's see. I'll configure the radar, so it's... Everything was just short range, right? Like we can say 4 kilometers. So I'll probably use this radar. I'll put it on top of here, and this will be like our spotting radar. And then we'll have to have some different ranges, right? Different ranges for the missile or for the guns. I tried with the missiles. I really did. And I think honestly the only way it's going to work is if I make my own missiles. So we're going to need a slightly larger ship than this. Just because the missiles are going to be like 3x3 at a minimum instead of, you know, so they're going to take up a lot more room. And I just don't know if we have the space on this frigate with everything else that I want on it. Yeah, so this is kind of like search and destroy, whatever, right? We'll be able to get close to objects with this frigate, and we'll also be able to blow them out of the sky. Right, so the one thing we need to do is we need to change, I think I said 4, right? So now you'll see the helicopter being tracked on here. And it's already, maybe I didn't fix it. Are we already out of range of the radar? All right. Oh, maybe I didn't save it. I saved it. Yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Just kind of, I changed here the distance pixel and the angle. I had these degrees with the angle, and it broke my radar. So once I got rid of those degrees, it fixed the radar, and I put that in as a disclaimer. Where's my zoom? Yeah, 400 times zoom. Right, so this is what I'm still kind of working on, is just trying to figure out the workable scale for the radar, but I had it working yesterday. I don't know. Maybe it was good up to 4, so let's just try that. Oh, because it's tracking something at 4 kilometers, right? So, let's see, what's this? Yeah, we need to change our radar. How far out is that? It's 3 kilometers. All right, well, it should track. It should track. That's the other thing with the radar. It's kind of, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. Can't say I'm a fan of it, because it's all based on field of view, right? So if the radar can see you, it can track you, but it doesn't always track, right? Like, for example, it's tracking other objects right now, but it's not locking onto the helicopter. So I only have one single target set up on the radar currently because I was testing it. So as it spins around, every time it sees a target, it should lock onto it, right? But because you can't choose what target it locks onto, as you just saw, it's locking onto, instead of locking onto the helicopter, it's locking onto everything else but the helicopter. So yeah, like I say, I don't know. I don't really know what, I don't really know what the purpose of radar is, really, other than just to like see what's around you, and that's it, really. You can get the XY of something if it chooses to work. All right, so let's see. Yeah, and then what I did is I split the channel because I was having issues with the numbers, right? I needed to add more numbers, but the composite coming off the radar is full. It's got 8 Boolean and it's got 32 number values, and then I needed additional number values for speed and zoom coming in from the map. Okay, let's go on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's where I missed it. Whoops. All right, now we'll see if it's going to track the helicopter. It can track up to 4 targets now. We'll get it working back up to 8. Like I say, this is just, I'm just still doing testing and calibrating. So there's a helicopter there that it's going to be locking onto. probably is, actually. Yeah, so this is kind of the issue. This is the issue that I've been having with the radar. So now what I want to do is I want to test. I want to test one thing. We'll put a pivot out. Get a velocity pivot. Oh, we get a robotic pivot. Is what we're doing. That way we can rotate it. So I'll do that, and then let's see. I could probably use a keypad for this one. Yeah, it's just one of those weeks. My headset is almost completely broken now, so I got another one on the way. It's gonna be a couple of days. Oh, and then that. I don't know what they did, but anytime you press Control S, it saves. But you use the control button to drag logic around. So I've noticed that, I don't know when they decided to update that, but it's just another really, in my opinion, a real stupid update. Because as a builder, I'm so used to using control in all angles, and now anytime I press S, it saves. It's really, yeah. So now I just have to rethink how I build stuff. It's kind of stupid. All right. So let's see what we can do here. So it's good up to 4 kilometers. Oh yeah, I gotta set it to static here. Jeepers, so many steps we gotta do. Okay, turn it to static, and we're actually gonna turn the range. Turn it right down to like 1500. There we go. Now I should be able to rotate it. Like I wanna finish the build, and that's it. That's 0.5. What do we get for 1? That's it, and then we can say -1, right? It just gives us that range. That's the whole range of motion that we get out of it. All right, well, let's see if it's detecting any targets. All right, I'll fly over it and see if we can detect the helicopter here. This is pretty much all I've been doing for a couple of days. Just testing the radar, making sure that it can track. Yeah, so like I say, I don't know how, because when it picks up an object, right, it should give it an ID. And for some reason, it's not giving the objects. You know what I mean? The radar is just the whole way it's designed, just kind of strange. So it's detecting the helicopter, finally. Right, and now we're watching it fly away still? No. See? The radar has stopped tracking the helicopter. And it has now started to track something else that's close. So this is the other issue that I'm having with the radar. It's just picking up objects. So it's picking up objects on the ship, and it's picking up objects, I guess, far away. So yeah, I don't know. Right? Because I'm in front of the radar. So it did pick up the helicopter. But you see how close I had to get to the ship? So it should be detecting me now. Let's see if we can. There we go. Now it's tracking me a little bit. Right, so essentially that's what I need to do now, is I need to figure out how I'm going to range the radar. Because we need four. We need 4 radars, right? We need to actively scan 360 degrees around the ship so we can pick up these objects. So you see our distance there is about 134. You can see approximately where we are on the map. So if I went set waypoint, I can see, you know, we're almost where we're at. We're just a little bit further. It's showing us here. So I'm still trying to figure out the scale, right? I'll probably Google it actually, figure out what the scale is of the map. Yeah, because that's information they don't give us either when you're zoomed in. What's the right? I press 1 on the zoom and it brings me here, but there's no scale. So I don't know how we're supposed to scale the I've seen some smaller maps where they have like kilometers and miles and stuff on it, so there must be. Yeah, anyways. All right, so there's the ship showing us at about 300 meters away. Yeah, I mean, it's not totally accurate, but it's close, right? It's close. And then at least we could track to here. So then if we zoom out again, then we go to our map. This point here is it there? Yeah, it's this point here. So it's telling us we're about halfway, but we're not. It's telling us we're about here, but we're not. We're about a quarter of the way instead of half. So yeah. And then what I tried to do was just like estimate the yeah, because it, you know, like I say, I don't know, it doesn't give us any information to scale the map. So you just kind of have to be like, okay, so now I'm zoomed in, right? This is where I would be zoomed in on the map, let's say. And then I could look at that waypoint and I could say that's 150 kilometers. And that's 150 kilometers. So 150 meters. So for 300, what's that? It's not even. We're 300 by 200. Ah! 300 by 200. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's 300 by 300. I'm not too sure. Yeah, anyways, once I figure this out, I'll put out another video here. I just wanted to show I have it working. I made missiles. The missiles didn't work. So now we're going to be changing this into a gunboat. That's what I'll be working on today, and I'll post a couple more videos just of the updates. Yeah, and then we're going to be going back to oil. We've got the blue ship that needs to be created as well. So I spent a little bit too much time on this, more time than I wanted to, but I was able to figure out the radar, and I was able to figure out that radar-guided missiles suck, and the laser-guided missiles aren't that much greater because you still have to paint the target. So if you have to see the target in order to hit it with the missiles, without having missiles that we can automate, right, which we'll be building later on, then we're better off using ballistics, because ballistics are faster and they're more accurate and all that good stuff. So yeah, so that's just my conclusions there, and they'll probably change. Yeah. You know, but I think if I was in an aircraft and I had missiles and I was flying over land and I saw a tank or something on the ground, yeah, I could probably hit it because it doesn't maneuver very fast. But, you know, to dogfight with another airplane and then to try and accurately hit it with missiles, yeah, I just, you know, it would be nice if we could do, I don't know what I'm thinking, but it would be nice if the radar, if there was a way we could, like, now, there's nothing we can do. Unfortunately, it's up to the developers. The developers have to change the radar. So instead of it always jumping from active target to active target, it needs to pick an active target. If it can focus on up to 8 targets at a time, then it needs to be able to lock on 8 individual targets. And it needs to be able to give us an ID for each individual target. And it needs to be able to track those individual targets while they're within the range of the radar. Instead of having 8 individual targets that are within the range of the radar, and the radar jumps from target to target to target to target. And that's what the radar does. And that's why when you're trying to use missiles, missiles don't work, because the radar with the missiles is doing the same thing. It's jumping from target to target to target to target instead of tracking one target. And then they say, well, we'll give you the immediate XY of the closest target within range. But if the radar is jumping from target to target to target, it can't definitively give you the XY of the most immediate target unless there's only one other target in range. So if we're attacking the military base where you have 3 or 4 helicopters, the radar is essentially useless. It's absolutely useless because it's going to be bouncing around from target to target to target, and you're never going to be able to focus. Right? So how do we get past that? The only way to get past that is to manually control the spin of the radar. Have a laser pointer on the radar, which is giving you the XY. And we actually have to manually lock onto, similar to what we were doing here with this, right? Where we have the rotation on both axes. So once the radar locks onto a target, then we can turn on the guns. They'll move to the target and they'll start to fire. That's essentially what's going to happen, right? We'll have to try and lock onto the target with this. We'll have to have cameras on it and everything else so we can get visual information, range information, and all that stuff that we're not accurately getting through the radar, because why, I don't know, but we should be able to get it through the radar. So yeah, anyways, that's my rant, that's my spiel. Like I say, thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. And I will see you in the next one.